Okay, so let's finish up this section as quickly as possible because I know that your time is valuable here. Measure of AC. All we're going to do to find these arc measures is add up the smaller arcs. And the smaller arc's measure is the same as the central angle measure. So AB is 29. BC is 108. So from A around to C is going to be just 108 plus 29. So that's just going to be 137. 137 degrees. ACD, well, that's going to take us from A around to C around to D. So how far is that? Well, that's 137 plus 83 from A to D to C. I'm sorry, from A to C to D. So that'll give us 137 plus 83 is 220 degrees. .220 degrees, and you guys get the idea from there. So anyway, for C and D, you should be able to do those on your own. Just add up the angles. So for instance, ADC, A to D to C. That's going to take me from A all the way around to D, all the way around to C. I'm just simply add those angles up to find the orange arc. Okay, so you guys should be able to finish those two. Let's move on to congruent arcs. Congruent arcs. Here's what we need. We need the same measure. That's the congruence part. Inside congruent circles. If we have the same measure and they're not congruent circles, then I don't have congruent arcs. I only have congruent circles if I have the same radius. That's how I tell if my circles are congruent. So if I go down to here to this example in the lower left, is DC congruent to EF? Well, I'm looking at DC right here, and I'm looking at EF. Are they congruent? Well, are the measures the same? Yes. 80 degrees and 80 degrees. That's my first question. Are the circles congruent? Well, it's one circle and it has one radius, so yeah, sure, right? So this one would be yes. Okay? Yes, those arcs are congruent. Yes, DC is congruent to EF. Okay? Alright, cool. Let's move on to this last one. Is RS congruent to TU? Now, I'm checking RS and TU. And I got a 90-degree angle. Well, this measure is going to be 90 then. This measure is going to be 90. And your first impulse is going to be to say they're both 90 degrees, so they're congruent. Wrong. Okay? Unfortunately, for all math students everywhere, these circles have to be congruent circles. Well, this inner circle is certainly not congruent to the outer circle here, right? Those are not congruent circles. One has a radius that's much bigger than the other one, so these circles are not congruent. So this is no. RS is not congruent to TU. And that's it for 10.2. That's all there is. So hopefully you found 10.2 a little bit more straightforward than probably the first section. Let's do 10.2 homework then tomorrow in class.